Okay, let's look at a couple integration concepts here. Um, so we'll look at relationships in the data cache. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to create an order here. Then I'm going to create a customer. They have many of the same properties, not surprisingly, because you need to know who's placing the order. These are different services. They could be, it's really however you want to slice and dice it, but they can be completely different services developed in separate repos by separate teams and have no dependency on one another. But what I can do is stitch them together, with module federation and much the same way that GraphQL does. So we have federated data, there's no dependency, but still we can build an aggregate that, is transparent to the components. So let's save this customer ID, and I can go back and create a new order. And instead of all these customer information details, God, I hate that. So saying Uncle Bob and all his stuff here. He's already a customer. Everybody's seen this, right? If you've been online ever. We'll say his customer ID number is that, and then we'll post. And so how do we get this? How do we get all this data, right? Just from the ID. Well, we defined in the model specification a relationship between customers and orders that the framework will recognize and will generate code to implement, that relationship, basically to retrieve from the cache the data that the relationship requires. And at which point you have the object itself, you have the model object, and you can call any method that you have rights to. Which is really what you're doing is you're calling a port, an inbound port. And in this case, we need to not only just get reference to the data, right? Like the username, last name, first name, credit card number, blah, 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 blah. But also we need to decrypt the sensitive information, which under, new laws in Europe, which I applaud, are just about everything that's personally identifiable. So everything but the first name, I think, so we need to decrypt that. You need to do that also if you're, sending to some third-party application. And we call the decrypt method that's available on the, that's a port on the customer service. Okay. And there are controls around, of course, who can access what. Like you have to be granted. The customer service has to grant the order service access, right? So those are only really dependencies, right? And you can turn that security on or off, right? On by default. So let's So now we've used federation to help create the order, right? And now we should be able to say, well, okay, so who are the customers involved with this order, right? So I can say I can just query, for the customer record, right? And then I get an aggregate object that contains the order and the customer together. And if we can do the same thing, we can do the same thing with the customer. No, we need this. And we should be able to say, well, not customer, but how about my orders? What orders does this customer have? Right, and right, so we get back an array of orders that contains just one for now. Oh, I can make that several. Okay, and let's just clear that. That's more interesting the other way around. That's not the right now. No. There we go. So here are all the orders that I just created under that customer. How many did I create there? That's just one customer. Orders. 23. So, or 22. Right. So this is showing the Federation in action. And it's showing the strategy that the framework has for persistence, which they kind of fit hand in glove together. The advantage of having the centralized framework is that makes it very easy to federate, and you retain complete control of your data, right? Just like you do your deployment independence. So data and deployment, they can continue to be owned by the service team, and while sharing, while running together in the same process, which that's a fair trade-off, considering how much expense there is in failed projects, and the opportunity cost of not implementing microservices, which are known to significantly address business agility, like time to market. Those are things you want without going bankrupt on development or maintenance costs. All right.